nsanyusa okulaba. Lero tugulireyo ku chicken.
No problem. Mulyo buli kye mwagala. Nakoze dda order. Meka?
12.
12. Kati olaba otya bwe ntolako kino ne ntolako ne kino ne neewola ne kano kati ziba mekaawo.
Sente bwe ziba tezikumala teweetawaanya weesootinge ne MTN Momo. Kozesa Momo app oba nyiga *165*5 oyongereko ne Momo Advance osasule.
Okulinnyisa omutindo gwa Afro Mobile. Eno y'engeri gy'oyinza okuzza obuggya omutindo gwa Afro Mobile yo. Funa app ya Afro Mobile okuva ku mukutu gwa Google Store oba App Store oba ku mutimbagano gwa www.afromobile.com. Londako forgotten password. Tekamu account yo eya Afro Mobile oze buggya pin code yo. Ojja kufuna obubaka ku email yo okuli ne code empya. Bw'oteekamu code eyo olwo pin yo empya ekkirizibwe. Afro Mobile, emboozi za Africa eza namaddala.
Upgrades are nice, but stepping up is woohoo!
I got a surprise for you.
Upgrade today to get even more with Step Up.
That's huge.
I know.
So if you're on GoTV Max and upgrade to GoTV Super, you'll get even more with GoTV Super Plus.
Really clever play.
Get big value. Get big entertainment.
It makes the difference.
Get stepped up to even more with GoTV.
Man.
Upgrade today using the My GoTV app or dial *206#.
Okuzimba emizikiti kyekimu ku biggumiza eddiini ya Allah ku dduniya kuno. Salam TV ne Salam Charity Foundation obweyamo bwaffe obukulu kwe kuggusa ebyo ebituuka ku mitima gy'abantu. Bannayuganda mwenna abali mu diaspora ne wano mu ggwanga lyattu Uganda mutwegatteko mu mwezi guno omutukuvu ogwa Ramadhan tuzimbe ennyumba ya Allah Katakwi. Bambi baagala eddiini yaabwe era batya Allah naye obasinziza wamalamu essuubi, emisaalo ssubi, ebisenge ssubi n'okusereka ssubi. Kino kidde ffe kufumiitiriza agali awamu ge galuma ennyama. Bwe tunaakwatira awamu omuzikiti gwe Katakwi tujja gumaliriza. Zimbira Allah ennyumba ku nsi agikuzimbire mu jjana. Baako n'ettoffaali ly'okasukayo lyonna ly'olinawo anti akasukaali alinawo taba mutiitiizi. Gamba munno ne munnaagambe munne nti tuzimba nnyumba ya Allah Katakwi. Tukikole nga kye kisembayo mu bulamu bwaffe olwo kifuuke ennunuzi ku ssaawa envannyuma. Essimu 077 3 220 oba 070 5 ne 0 okukuba oyise ettaffaali lyo tuzimbe ennyumba ya Allah Katakwi. Tukwatireko tumalirize ennyumba ya Allah eno. Salam TV, olutimbiru olw'emirembe. Eno ye Salam TV.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Dear viewer, we continue appreciating you for keeping it on Salam TV. This is the Al Hidayah show where we look at Islam and science. We are contemplating on some of the scientific aspects that Allah has mentioned in the Holy Quran, of course, plus what the experts and technocrats have mentioned to us. We are trying to make sense out of them such that you worship Allah with the firm conviction that there is none that has the power and might over your life, over whatever we see around us. So it is a question of appreciating that if I do not worship Allah in the correct sense, then I will be doing myself a disservice and injustice to myself. So we are looking at the universe as some very compounded, complicated and creation of Allah that requires you to have a keen interest and follow the discussion very well. So before we went in for the break, we were looking at composition of the universe is so many things. The guest mentioned us have galaxies, which is a collection of stars, and incidentally the sun is one is the smallest of stars. That is some interesting thing we should note. It appears so big to us today, but it is the smallest. We call it a dwarf among the stars. Then you have the other planets, and then the moon as another important component of the universe. So in the Quran, Allah mentions Allah created the heavens and earth, right? And today we want to dig deep into especially what is beyond the earth or space. So before we went in for the break, we won an aspect of light years, that the distance between one star to another is measured in terms of light, and 1 light year is 9.4 trillion kilometers. Then the nearest star to us is 4.2 light years. So it means that's about 40 trillion kilometers. Wow. Let's start from there.
So we brought in those figures just for purposes of getting this human being to understand that when we talk of the universe, we are not talking of some small place somewhere in Kampala. This is an extremely large and expansive environment, and all of it, Allah has simply put it in place to demonstrate His power.
Oh, wow.
So that the human beings that live on earth, they should be able to look at themselves as things that are not even worthy of challenging Allah. But you'll find that Etana has made it easy for human beings. They stand up and say, there's no even such a thing.
For me, I'm an atheist. I don't believe in that.
Someone comes and declares that for him, he does not even believe that there is a God.
Of course, there are extraordinary forces of physics that determine
they
things.
Talk of some things which are not alive. They talk of the universe. That the universe is the one that is responsible for our lives. How can something which is not alive maintain something which is alive?
Allah. Maybe before we go into the next thing, you told us you're going to start Yasin. I think before we went in for the break, there was something that I wanted you to help us. In Surah to, I think it is Talaq, chapter 65. The very last verse, Allah says, Allah khalaqa sab'a samawatin wa min al-ardi mithlahunna. Allah created 7 heavens, and the earth 7, the like of all this, like the same number like the 7 heavens. So to this viewer, what we are discussing as the universe, is it the first heaven in the Allah's definition? Because when that story of the Laylatul Isra al-Miraj, we are told the Prophet had to go beyond the 7 heavens and then reached very far. So what we are discussing here is this first heaven in terms of our understanding as lay people.
Now you see, we have to appreciate that we scientists have very little knowledge about the universe.
Allahu Akbar.
And that is one thing which we Muslims have the advantage of knowing, because you see, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about the knowledge He has given us human beings, He says, وَمَا أُوتِيتُم مِّنَ الْعِلْمِ إِلَّا قَلِيلًا. So the information that we have is still very small. When the Prophet was explaining the way he saw the various levels of the heavens,
yes,
for him he was saying that level 1 was where we were,
yes,
the earth. Then he says they rose to the heaven, meaning in that case you are talking of what is visible from earth.
From earth, yes.
Otherwise he wouldn't have said the heaven that is above the earth. So once they reached what would be our current visible universe,
yes,
they now crossed into
a new layer.
Now if you hear the way the Prophet was comparing the layers of us, you again get more
disturbed 500 what?
At the way these things are. He said that when they reached now the second
level,
heaven,
heaven,
for him he was calling them heavens, they were seeing the one where they were, and it was like a ring in a desert.
Hey.
So meaning this universe that has already scared us with the billions of stars and etc.
So tiny compared to the
just
second
a ring in a
heaven.
desert compared to the next level, because the prophet was shown these levels.
7 of them.
And you can see that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made it in such a way that he shows him that what you were seeing down there is not really very big, because you see the way it appears from here. It's just a ring in a desert. And that process was repeated up to 6 times. With each time,
bigger
once
than
the prophet
what
would
you
reach the upper level, he would see what you thought was very big turning into a small ring in a desert. Meaning even what we have observed, what should really be striking enough to the human eye, is already just a small part of what Allah has created. So for the one that is really contemplating, simply go down, worship Allah, because he has already shown you all the signs that you are just an insignificant part of the universe. Even the earth itself, even if we don't even go to the sky, a human being relative to the earth, are you even visible?
You're not. You just imagine you're in the plane and
just going into
a few kilometers.
A plane. You no longer see the human beings on earth.
So actually, you can't even say that is a human being. All you see is water.
A house will appear like a small dot. Yet you are just within the human created objects like an aircraft. Now how about a human being relative to just the even our solar system, the sun and all its you are already insignificant. The whatever money you are having,
so
it's insignificant. You're not having anything. So we now go into the issue of order, because our focus today is to try and show you that although the thing is extremely large,
yes, but there is order.
It is also followed by extreme levels of order.
So the first thing you told us was Allah put a deliberate distance between the stars,
because that distance alone also would cause a lack of control.
Of course.
Because a person may say, but since the distances are very big, there's no chance of collision. There are chances of collision if you are disorganized, because the distance themselves would make you lose control over these things, and you would end up failing to know where each one is. Remember, we already agreed that those stars you are seeing, they were there like 1 million years ago. What you are seeing now. So now how about Allah who controls their current positions?
It is really something interesting.
So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us 2 verses in Surah Yasin, 38 and 39. First verse is saying, وَالشَّمْسُ وَالشَّمْسُ تَجْرِي لِمُسْتَقَرٍ لَهَا ذَلِكَ تَقْدِيرُ الْعَزِيزِ الْعَلِيمِ. Then the second one is saying, وَالْقَمَرَ قَدَّرْنَاهُ مَنَازِلَ حَتَّى عَادَ كَالْعُرْجُونِ الْقَدِيمِ. So the first verse is talking about the sun, and he says the sun runs on a specific course for an appointed time.
Appointed time.
Now remember that it is only of recent that the human beings discovered that sun which you are seeing there is actually also moving.
In the past,
because initially the human beings thought that the sun is the one moving around the earth. Those were the old people, just seeing from what they were seeing. Then Copernicus and his colleagues used telescopes to establish that actually the sun is not the one moving. We are instead the ones who are moving. But for them, they didn't actually realize that even the other thing that we are rotating around, it is also moving. And the sun, it's not very well that the sun also goes around the Milky Way. Remember, the Milky Way, we've said it is some kind of district in space, some collection of stars where we are. We call it the Milky Way. So the sun also goes around it, and it completes its cycle every 230 million years. Every 230 million years, the Earth, which started from here, will have completed its rotation around the galaxy, and it has come back exactly where it was.
The sun, the earth.
The sun.
The sun.
Because Allah here is talking of the sun, and He's saying it travels So he's not referring to a stationary thing. And by that time, those Arabs at the time of the Prophet, they could not have realized that the sun is also traveling. And you know how fast it travels to take all those million years? 220 kilometers per second. You imagine that kind of 220 kilometers per second is the distance, it is the speed at which it is moving around that very large district which we call the galaxy.
Maybe first help us understand. When you say 230 million years, is that the distance from sunrise
No,
to
it is not. It is not.
sunset, or it's the entire?
No, remember we said we human beings and the sun and the earth and everything, we are part of that district of stars which we call the Milky Way.
Yes.
But that thing, the sun also has to go around it.
To come back to its start point.
But for it to complete that cycle, it is 230 million years.
Wow.
Meaning the human beings cannot even be able to live
Which
a tiny part of what the sun needs to do in order to do just one cycle. Because you need 230 million years. We human beings, ever since we stepped on Earth, we have not even made 500,000 years, not even 1 million. But we need, the sun will need 230 million years just to make one cycle.
Oh wow. Talk to us about this sunrise and sunset. Where does now
sunrise and sunset is not about the sun moving. It is instead about the earth rotating
around the sun.
Not necessarily around the sun, around itself.
Okay.
Now Allah has made two things. He has made the sun, the earth, to rotate like a ball. You know this basketball, as they
call
turn
spinning.
the ball and they put a finger and it spins. So that spinning is what causes these days and nights. And you can see they are short. 24 hours, you are done, you go to another day. Then the seasons, winter, summer. Here in Uganda we tend not to see them.
Of course. We only
In
have
other places,
dry
we
and
see
wet.
them.
That's what we are told, yes.
So, although it is busy rotating around and creating days and months, it is also going around the sun. So that movement around the sun is what causes the seasons. And they are very specific. You can see that the seasons have their time, and whenever that time comes, the season is back.
It's back.
So although the sun, we are rotating around it, it's also busy moving, and moreover it is moving very fast. But the distances are extremely large. You can't even feel that you are moving very fast.
Wow.
220 kilometers every second, the sun is trying to go around that large thing which is called the Milky Way. But it
will take 230 million years.
You have to take 230 million years just to make one revolution. For us, on the earth, we take 1 year to complete our movement around the sun.
And the sun to complete its
but the good thing, we have nothing much to gain from the sun.
From the sun, yes.
Moving around the galaxy. But the things which affect us, like the earth moving around the sun, those ones Allah has made them smaller. Otherwise, if we were also having a year that takes a very long time, it would make life very hard for us as human beings. So these rotations, Allah has made them a way of us trying to establish time. Because just imagine if the earth was just static, nothing moving. The sun is there, does not move. How would you really count time?
Of course you wouldn't.
And life would be very difficult.
So difficult, yes.
But at least now, since we have this day and night, somehow you declare it a Monday and it becomes a Tuesday and life would move on. So the sun has that course it follows. Then the moon also
has its own course.
Follows a similar thing, but the ones for the moon are smaller than, because the sun, we have seen it is millions of years. then our Earth around the sun is 1 year.
1 year.
But the moon, for it needs 30 days and it's done with its course. And that moon, you can see it also follows a very predetermined path. 30 days goes back to where it was. 30 days, it keeps going back to where it was. And we human beings may not understand that moon's moving around has major meanings for us who are on Earth. So if you remove that moon, there would be a lot of chaos on Earth. So even where it is and that speed at which it goes around us, and today it's a full moon, tomorrow it's a half quarter, we are waiting for Ramadan, it will be soon a new month. But all those things have an impact on how stable life is on our planet. So for the one that contemplates, we come here with these scientific facts, not necessarily to blow your mind and tell you things that are not very hard to appreciate, to understand, but we are simply calling your mind to understand that these kinds of things cannot have come into being just by some accidental mixing of chemicals and it cannot be like that. There is a formidable intelligence that is directing all of these things. And it is our job simply to say, La ilaha illallah, Muhammad Rasulullah. That is what Allah wants from you, nothing else.
Nothing else.
And if you fulfill that, then He will give you more power. Human beings that will go into the Jannah will live their lives nearly the way Allah has designed His own life. Because you will see that when a human being is in the Jannah, you will not need to travel and go and look for money. It's money digging and it's many business and it has collapsed. Those things will not be there. Whatever good thing you want
and think of,
you will simply think of it and it occurs. And that is Allah's kind of life. For Him, it is kun, fayakun, and that kind of life.
And it is.
And that kind of life is what He will give to those that will go into the Jannah.
Paradise.
So what people are struggling to create illusions here on earth, Allah has already guaranteed. You simply worship me here. Once you die and I give you the Jannah, you'll be able to live that life that you are imagining, a life where there is no need, there is no inconvenience, there is no difficulty, there is nothing. It is just you think of something good, you have it.
I think people out there say now these scientists, I also believe in things that are imaginary.
Exactly. But all sciences start with the imagination. Because you think these computers, people just created magically. No, they drew them and finally.
Time is running out. Can you make a mention on? You said the Earth and the Moon, the Sun, Moon have got fixed courses.
They have fixed courses, and those courses have impact on our lives here on Earth.
So what then brings about the eclipses? Just in a minute or two.
The eclipses, I wish we had the picture for the eclipse. You see, as the moon goes around, a time comes when they create alignment. We can demonstrate with this microphone. Here you have your sun. Here the moon has come.
Okay.
Then here you have where you are, the earth. Now you realize that this moon now has become an obstacle
from the light.
Light was coming from this side, but now it has landed on this very large ball called the moon. So we who were seeing it properly, now we no longer see it.
So does it mean the light of the moon is brighter than the one of the sun?
No, there's no light. The moon has no light. But it is simply coming in as an obstacle. Just like you have this studio light. If a person comes and puts something here in the middle, the other light goes away because it can't go through that obstacle.
I see.
So in that case, you will therefore be able to see as if the sun has gone away temporarily. The reason simply being that a large ball has come in between you
and then you see some
sun.
Faint light.
So for as long as that large ball is still between you and the sun, you won't see the sun. But because these objects are moving fast, you find it in a few minutes. The sun will come back because whatever was blocking the light has gone away. So that is what causes some of these things that we are calling eclipse.
Thank you very much. So dear viewer, we can't exhaust the discussion further than this. But suffice to note is what our guest is saying, that the information, the knowledge that Allah grants those people who have made the research and come up with these different figures and details is largely to demonstrate and confirm the fact that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has power over everything, power over you, to demonstrate that if you're in the airplane, we are not visible even as creations. Just imagine an aircraft which has been made by a fellow human being. It shows that you're nothing. We can no trace of you can be made if somebody is some 10,000 kilometers away from you. Then how is it to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? All he wants from us is us to worship him and know that if we behave well, if we do whatever he wants, he's going to give us paradise with a lot of niceties and goodness that he has mentioned. So inshallah, we hope that we continue contemplating on this, just like the topic is saying, scientific contemplation. Look at this information as something that should help you to understand and appreciate Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in a better way. We encourage that if you missed out on the beginning parts of the show, kindly visit the Salam TV YouTube page, type Al Hidayah, and then you can get the discussion from where we started. Remember that inshallah come Saturday or Sunday we shall be starting Ramadan, so let's make the adequate preparations to enter Ramadan in the best shape possible. Inshallah, till then, we wish you a nice week ahead and pray that Allah enables us all to engage in the ibadah of fasting. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Eno, yes, Salam TV.
Here's your chance to win school fees for your child.